Okay, here is my true and honest opinion of the Georgia Aquarium. So, we've been here before. We came here a couple years ago. It was probably like 7 or 8. So, things have changed. We were excited to come, bring our little one, and just see what's happening. So, I'm going to give you the ins and outs. This is a little bit of a long video, but hang out and learn as much as you can so that when you come, you know what to expect and you know how to have the best time. So, we went through it pretty quickly, but we ended up parking on the 5th floor, which was stupid because the line for the elevator was ridiculously long and the stairs were very narrow, so it was hard to go up and down with other people around. We decided to get the membership pass for our family of 4 because honestly, that already pays for itself if we go 2 times. So when people come to visit us here in Georgia, this is just something that we can bring them to. And yeah, a couple of fun facts. This is the largest aquarium in the United States. It was the largest aquarium in the world, but I don't know, I guess according to whatever fact sheet you look at, it's either the 5th or the 3rd largest in the world. I don't know. So we like underwater stuff. We've been to a million aquariums, so sometimes Brad and I are like grown. We're going to another one. But this one is pretty unique because it has giant tanks full of especially sea creatures that you don't see everywhere else. Like Miles was so excited to see turtles, but there was only like 3 that we saw in the entire place. So instead of seeing the same thing that you see at like every single aquarium, you're seeing beluga whales and you're seeing, look at these puffins. Oh my gosh, did anybody else have the Beanie Baby? I told Miranda and she looked at me like, I don't care, Mom. That's weird. But anyway, this one has a lot of interactive stuff to do. There's lots of like things that you can go and see. Some things were probably maybe not as bad if it wasn't as crowded. And so you'll see later in this video that I was getting pretty annoyed. I have ADHD and sensory is like a big thing for me. And so there were certainly plenty of times where you'll be walking down a ramp and people in front of you will just stop because they're like turning to look for somebody. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I am going to bulldozer you and knock you over like a bunch of pins in a bowling game. So anyway, we really did try to see every single exhibit. I think there's 7 different like countries or like different types of exhibits to go see. And I think we pretty much got to everything, but I mean, every time you go back, I feel like you're gonna have a different experience. So anyway, back to the exhibits here. There was a lot of times where you'd come into this big tank and it would be super crowded at the first window. Walk further down because there's usually going to be more windows to the same big tank, and those ones are not going to be as crowded, so you can get right up to the water, right up next to it, and you'll be able to see so much better. Now we went to go see the dolphin show, which they kept saying like, go sit. We went and sat 30 minutes early. By that point, we weren't really like tired. But as we were sitting there and waiting, Miles was just getting so antsy. So really, if you want a good seat, yeah, you want to get there early, but it's probably a good seat everywhere. So take your time, get in there probably before 10 minutes before the show starts or whatever. But there is a splash zone. No, they don't purposely get super wet or anything like that. But I don't like to be wet. Again, sensory, that super gross, ruins my entire experience. But it was really cool to see how much that they really do love these animals. I don't know how you feel about, you know, like the whole SeaWorld, Shamu deal or whatever. I've been to SeaWorld, I've seen the shows, all that stuff. And I really do think that these places, at least now more than ever, are doing everything they can to try to work on the health and the safety of sea animals all throughout the world. That was just really cool to hear them talk about and how much they really do put the health of these animals at the number one. A lot of these places, these animals were rescued from different places around the world where they would not have been had a good life otherwise. So we took a little detour to go into the gift shop here, but Miles just wanted to play with toys, so we finally pried him away and decided to go eat. Do not eat at lunchtime. The line was so long, we were so frustrated, but here's my true and honest feeling about this food. Don't waste your money. This is basically all of your generic American food. Yeah, there's some healthy snacks, some gluten-free snacks, but you've got your chicken tenders, your burgers. There is a veggie burger, which I had. There's hot dogs, wings, things like that, but absolutely none of this had anything award-winning to it at all. It was very plain, super expensive. I'll show you the overall cost. There's a couple of healthy options here, but you know me, I'm a vegan, so I do what I can. It was about $54 for a family of 4. And like I said, we didn't love the food, but we ate it. The only seat that we could find was in this really sunny spot. So we were really, really hot and sweaty, especially my poor husband, who's always hot all the time. So he was just sitting there sweating as he's eating hot wings. Look at him just eating those hot wings and getting every single little ounce off of that bone, because I mean, portion sizes were okay, but we really did clean our plates, let me tell you what. So yeah, $54. This was the hallway I was talking about when people just like decide to stop right in front of you and you're like, excuse me. And that just happened a lot. Like there would just be times where these people would just stop and you're like, can I get around you, please? Like, thank you. But again, sensory might just be me, I don't know. We also went on Labor Day weekend, so kind of our own fault. Now, I love me some sharks. I was waiting for this swarm here to like turn into a giant arrow like they did in Finding Nemo, but yeah, they didn't. They just decided to act like a tornado and that was it, and that's fine. But anyway, I love sharks, super fun. Miles had such a fun time here looking at every single shark. I actually didn't even include all of my videos that I took here because I took so many and it was just really fun to see these suckers. Now, it feels like you are right up against the water. I love these windows that are top to the bottom, like completely to the floor, so that you really do feel like you are in the water with them. I don't know how much of it is like distorted from the glass and things like that, but we had a good time. So this was one of the interactive parts here. None of them were close enough to be able to touch, so that was sad. Then we got to see these cool crocs or alligators. I can never tell the difference, but I went to the alligator land in Florida a couple months ago, and that was so much cooler than just seeing an alligator here or there. I really did think that they had some funky looking creatures here. Like, I don't know, this is terrifying. If I saw this while I was diving, I would go in the absolute opposite direction. I don't know if you know I'm a scuba diver, but I'm a scuba instructor and I'm getting back into it right now. So they do offer the opportunity to scuba here at the Georgia Aquarium. And I know one of the previous instructors that used to work up here. And so I think it'd be pretty fun. My husband was like, you better go and do that sometime. It's going to be such a dive of a lifetime. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool because of the different sea creatures that you might not see out in the wild very frequently. But I don't know if it's going to be worth the money. I have not looked into how much it is, but yeah, I definitely love these frogs here, even though they would kill you. Absolutely kill you. Oh yeah, and here's some lightning fish. Yeah, flashlight fish, that's what they're called. So we were sitting there staring at them like, what are they called? And then there's like a giant sign right there. So this is the size of a football field. This is the top part of the biggest tank that they have here. You can see the whale sharks, you can see the giant manta rays. And what was really cool about this tank specifically, we did this one last. We saw the top part. And then in a few minutes here, you'll see us go through the underwater part. And yep, here it is. This is this big tube. You can go on the moving walkway or you can walk alongside it. You don't need to go on the walkway. Don't wait in line if you don't need to. But it's kind of hard to see. Like the distortion here of the water and the glass is much harder to see. So honestly, like I feel like I took a lot of time in this tube, but really I'm going to show you what was really amazing here after a minute or so. These manta rays were absolutely breathtaking. They were gigantic. I didn't even know they got that big. I've never seen a whale shark in the water, but I have had a lot of friends that have dove with them before. So once you get through that big long tube, we found this really cool misty mist area, and we were starting to get pretty tired at this point. Like our legs were starting to, this is what I'm talking about. This giant like movie theater size ability to watch these creatures was the best. I could have sat here for hours and hours just sitting here watching all of these creatures. Tank is the name of the sea turtle in there, by the way. And these whale sharks, if you look at the history, and if you sit in this area, they talk a little bit about the history, but they were actually delivered via UPS from Taiwan. So that was really cool. So here's our loot that we decided to get on our way out because we decided it was time to go after that. We spent about $47 on 3 items. And as you may know, the Atlanta Aquarium is right next to a bunch of other stuff downtown Atlanta. So we were pretty pooped by the end of it. Look at this cute little guy. He had a great time. So let me know if you want to go.